You know, when you hear the word murder, what comes to mind? Probably weapons, right? Violence. But what if the deadliest weapon wasn't a gun or a knife, but a lie? That's really the story of Bernie Madoff, a guy whose crimes created a real human body count, even though he never physically touched a single victim.
And that's the chilling part of this whole Madoff scandal, isn't it? This wasn't just about stocks and bonds or some numbers on a spreadsheet. No, this was about actual lives ending in absolute tragedy. And it all traced back to one man's enormous, monumental lie.
And while all these lives were being just shattered, this is the number everyone was talking about. $65 billion. Just gone. I mean, it was the largest financial fraud in US history. And yeah, that figure is absolutely staggering, but the real cost, as we're about to find out, you can't even put a price tag on it.
Okay, so to really get how this all happened, you have to understand the picture Bernie Madoff painted for the world. See, this guy wasn't some shady, back alley con man. Oh no, he was treated like absolute royalty on Wall Street.
I mean, his story looked like the American dream, right? Starts his firm in 1960 with just $5,000 he saved from being a lifeguard. By the 90s, he's a Wall Street legend. He even becomes the chairman of the NASDAQ stock exchange. But here's the kicker, the real irony of it all. He sat on the board of the SEC, you know, the Securities and Exchange Commission, the very group that's supposed to stop guys like him. He wasn't just hiding in plain sight. He was basically helping write the rule book.
So you might be asking, what was the big deal? Why was everyone clamoring to get in? Well, it's because Bernie was offering something that seemed impossible. He promised steady, consistent returns. We're talking 10 to 12% year after year, like clockwork. The market could be crashing, it could be soaring, it didn't matter. Madoff's fund just delivered. And that's what pulled everyone in, from Hollywood directors and pro athletes to huge charities, even other billionaires. They all trusted him.
But here's the thing, it was all a complete illusion. So how did this celebrated financial genius become the mastermind behind a $65 billion lie? Well, let's break down how the scheme actually worked. The short answer, it was a classic Ponzi scheme. A really, really big one. See, he wasn't making any real investments with his clients' money. There were no profits. He was just taking money from new investors to pay off the earlier ones. The whole thing was just a big shell game running on a constant flow of other people's cash. And it works in 3 pretty simple but devastatingly effective steps. First, you have to lure people in. You promise these incredible, consistent returns that feel super exclusive, super reliable. Step 2, you pay out those returns, but you're just using money from the new guys to pay the old guys, and that creates this powerful illusion of profit. And for step 3, you just have to maintain that illusion. As long as more new money is coming in than what people are asking to take out, the whole scheme looks solid as a rock. It looks like a fortress, but it's really just a house of cards. And for decades, that money just kept flowing in. But then came 2008, and the music suddenly stopped. The global financial crisis hit, and that's when the foundation of Madoff's entire operation started to crack. So you've got the markets in a free fall. Naturally, Madoff's investors started getting really nervous. They wanted their money out, and they wanted it now. The problem was the money just wasn't there to give them. So with the pressure building and nowhere left to turn, on December 10th, 2008, Madoff finally came clean to his sons. He told them everything. And what did they do? The very next day, they turned their own father into the FBI. And just like that, with that one confession to his sons, the entire myth just shattered. 50 years in the business, billions of dollars, this towering reputation, it was all, in his own words, one big lie. Okay, so let's talk about that $65 billion number again. Where did that come from? Well, that was the fake value that Madoff was printing on his clients' statements. It was pure fiction. The actual amount of real cash that investors lost was closer to $18 billion. Now, that's still an almost unbelievable amount of money. For thousands of people, that was their life savings, their retirement, their entire future, just gone. And this is where we get to the real story. Because the fallout from this, it wasn't just financial, not even close. The real cost was measured in human lives. And that devastation, it started right inside his own family. Let's talk about his son, Mark Madoff. He was one of the 2 who did the right thing and turned his father in. But the weight of it all was just too much. On the 2nd anniversary of his father's arrest, Exactly 2 years to the day, Mark, unable to escape the crushing public shame, took his own life.
The tragedy didn't stop there. It also hit his other son, Andrew.
Now, Andrew was a longtime cancer survivor, but he was convinced that the incredible stress from the scandal is what caused his cancer to come back. He passed away in 2014. He said he would never, ever forgive his father.
And from the Madoff family, the devastation just rippled outwards. It reached investors all over the world, people who had trusted this man with literally everything they had.
Take Thierry Magon de Villehuchet. He was a French investor, an aristocrat, who had funneled $1.4 billion of his clients' money into Madoff's fund. Just a couple of weeks after the scheme collapsed, facing the impossible task of telling his clients that everything was gone, he went to his office and took his own life. And the list just keeps going. The tragedies kept mounting. There was William Foxton, a decorated British military veteran. He lost his life savings and killed himself. Renee Thierry's business partner also died by suicide. And those are just the ones we know for sure. Investigators believe that countless other people died from stress-induced heart attacks, strokes, and other illnesses, all brought on by the shock and horror of losing absolutely everything. So, when you have a trail of destruction this wide, both financial ruin and human tragedy, you have to ask, what does justice even look like in a case like this? Well, on paper, justice looked like this: 150 years. In June of 2009, Bernie Madoff was handed the maximum possible prison sentence. And that's where he stayed until he died in 2021. But here's the thing. Despite all those deaths, the suicides, the stress-related illnesses that were directly linked to what he did, Bernie Madoff never faced a single charge for any of them. In the eyes of the law, he was a thief. He was a financial criminal, but he wasn't a killer. And that leaves us with a really unsettling question, doesn't it? Our legal system is set up to punish a guy for stealing money, but it seems to have no way to hold him accountable for the actual human lives that were destroyed because of it. Right now, there's no such thing as financial homicide. But when you look at the story of Bernie Madoff and everyone he left in his wake, you have to wonder, maybe there should be.